All know that person who is so magnetic that no matter what they do, they just draw everything to them: people, opportunities, clients, money. But how do they do that? And can you do the same thing? Well, I'm here to tell you that absolutely yes, you can. Anybody can learn to be more magnetic, and by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly how to do it. Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about everything having to do with reprogramming your deep subconscious and creating the life of your dreams. If you're interested in taking your life to the next level, just check out the link in the description for my 3-month transformational coaching program. Clients have been having unbelievable results, and I can't wait for you to be next. Magnetism is actually a skill set. It's based on a set of principles. And today I'm going to break down the 5 ways that you can actually learn to be more magnetic in your life starting from today. So to become more magnetic, it's not about what you do, it's not about what you wear, it's not about how you look. None of that stuff actually really matters that much. It's much more about what you believe about yourself, the world, and others. So principle number 1 is that your magnetism is based primarily on your self-concept and your self-image. We all have an image in our mind of who we think we are, how we think others treat us, and how we think the world works. And we are actually constantly operating in conjunction with this image of ourselves. So the first thing that you can do to get more magnetic is to look at the image that you have of yourself. Really dive deep into your concept of self. What are the stories that you tell about yourself in your life? Do you believe yourself to be magnetic? Do you believe that you can attract the things that you want into your life effortlessly? Do you believe that other people want to give you the things that you want in your life? Do you believe that the world is operating in your favor or that it's in opposition to you? All the stories that we have surrounding ourselves, our connection with others in the world is going to greatly influence whether we come across as magnetic or not in any given situation. So the first step before you move on to any of the other 5 steps is to really do an inventory of what you're thinking about yourself and start to change what you think and believe about yourself to match the kind of outcomes that you want to see in your life. Now, the thing about changing your self-concept and changing your magnetism is it's not a light switch that can just be turned on and off. You can't just be at an event or be in a business meeting or be at a performance and think that you're just going to be able to perform perfectly the first time without any kind of rehearsal. So what you're thinking when you're alone at your home, when you're just taking a walk, the internal monologue that's running inside of your head matters not only in the times when you're in the event. So you have to build up your magnetism through the dominant assumption that you have about yourself. People will feel that and they will respond to that. I believe that everybody has a natural magnetism about them, but we get programmed out of our magnetism. We get programmed out of our sense of self, programmed through social media to reject parts of the self, to abandon parts of the self, and that actually lowers and diminishes our magnetism. The second principle that is absolutely important when it comes to being magnetic and being attractive to other individuals and to the things that you want in your life is actually having high openness and a willingness to learn versus being very closed off and in a protective state. So when you're meeting new people, trying to attract clients, dating, meeting with new friends, any kind of social situation, your ability to be open and willing to learn is going to allow you to create that emotional connection with other individuals. Whereas if you are more in a protective state and trying to actually just keep yourself safe because you're so scared of getting hurt, you're so scared of being vulnerable. So all of your focus and energy is about protecting yourself. And when we're in a protective state in our mind, we're actually creating this closed offness, which dulls and closes off our natural magnetism. And they haven't dealt with those wounds internally, so they bring that to all their social interactions and settings, and they make their healing other people's responsibility, which just doesn't make it easy to be open and create that allure of like, yes, I want to meet you, come into my circle, I want to see what you're about, I want to draw on these potential and opportunities. Now, this high openness and the willingness to learn actually ties in perfectly with number 3. Highly magnetic people are very emotionally self-validating. Magnetic people know how to deal with their own emotional triggers better. They perceive opposition, rejection, things not going their way immediately very differently than to people who don't know how to regulate and validate themselves emotionally. Really, the only way to be able to approach new situations with openness and not from a protective state is to feel that you got you and that you've created this emotional basis for yourself you've created this emotional stability and validation for yourself, and you're not looking for that from the external world. You're not looking from that from the situation, the circumstance, or the person. So magnetic people tend to be very emotionally centered and are not easily swayed by what's going on around them. They're not controlled emotionally by the situations that they find themselves in. Essentially, you can think about it as they don't put their happiness in the hands of other people. Now, the reason why it's so off-putting when somebody tries to get their sense of love, validation, happiness from an individual, a relationship, a client, to a point where you can see that that person is longing for it, like they don't have it within themselves, they truly feel they're not complete within themselves, is because it is truly a burden that nobody can fill. It is a hole that can only be filled by source, God, universe, self, from your own internal source. That's the only way that you could really feel that sense of completeness. And when you put that burden on another person, it's just not possible for them to do what you're asking of them. So it's like a perfect universal order, guys. You will be magnetic when you understand the power that you have within you, when you understand that you can create your own stability, your emotional stability. You understand you can validate yourself, that you don't need the validation of others. And the more that you learn this as a universal law, the more that you come back to yourself in this way, other people, opportunities, and things will also gravitate towards you. Which brings us to number 4, and nothing is more magnetic than having a very strong knowingness of self and a very strong personal frame. And being able to have a very strong knowingness of self and personal frame really comes down to fully accepting yourself. If you continually shame yourself, guilt yourself, nitpick at yourself about things that you don't see as perfect, you are going to exude that to other people, and it actually makes other people very uncomfortable. Someone who doesn't like themselves is actually more off-putting than the thing that they don't like about themselves. So let's say, I don't know, you don't like your hair, or you don't like your body, or you don't like the way you speak, or something like that. If you're very self-conscious about that, that is more noticeable to an individual than the thing itself. Now, of course, we should all work to improve ourselves and be our best versions of self, but that should not stop you from being magnetic. You can be magnetic right now if you start giving more attention to how you are whole, how you're complete, how you are actually perfect the way that you are. What are your strengths? What are your gifts? You will still come off as extremely magnetic to others. And while we're on the topic of a strong personal frame, there's nothing more magnetic than an individual who will not just give up their values, their morals, their sense of self, their sense of knowingness about who they are for any other person. There's nothing more magnetic than someone who will not just take in rejections and criticisms from other people and bring it into their concept of self. They have a strong sense of who they are, and they are constantly refining that sense of who they are. They're not threatened by other people not being like them, and their personal frame also doesn't crumble under the weight of other people not liking who they are, not liking what they do, or criticisms, rejections that come in their direction. And ironically, this is the catch-22. The more refined you are in that identity of who you are, the less and less rejections and criticisms you will actually face. In the early stages of building your magnetism, you may face more, but as you advance in your knowingness of self, you will get a lot less criticism and a lot less people judging you, because people can feel that it won't really affect you. And very often, if you practice your magnetism and your knowingness of self for long enough, you will see some of your greatest critics end up becoming your biggest fans. And now number 5 is so important, and that is to have a very strong vision of who you are as an individual, what you're about, what you're creating, and what direction you're going in your life. Because if you do not have a strong vision for where you're going in your life and what you are trying to create, what you're all about, what are your gifts and talents, and what direction are you moving in, it'll be very hard for you to resist the criticism that you do get from the outside world. It'll be very hard for you to not react to your circumstances because you're so caught up in the moment. You're so caught up in what's happening right now. But the people who have a very strong vision and just keep moving in that direction, I mean, they create this energy that everybody wants to just be a part of their vision and what they're doing. And it creates this magnetic pull. Okay, vision creates the energy necessary to move you towards the direction of your goal. That's why having a strong vision is so important in your life and creating the kind of future that you want for yourself, surrounded by the things, people, opportunities, and circumstances that you want. So just to recap really quickly, number 1, know what your beliefs are about yourself, about others, and the world. Believe you are magnetic. Believe you have that ability. assume it and create that to be the dominant assumption. Number 2, have a high openness and willingness to learn. And don't put yourself in a protective and closed off state if you're trying to attract things into your life. Number 3, you want to be emotionally self-validating and make your happiness your own responsibility. Number 4, you want to know who you are, you want to know what you stand for, and you don't want to waver on that. You want to have a strong personal frame. And number 5, you want to have a strong vision for the things that you're creating. I guarantee you that if you work on these 5 aspects, you will see unbelievable increases in your magnetism. You will see unbelievable increases in your ability to attract the things that you want to into your life with almost no effort, because everyone is a version of yourself pushed out. All right, guys, if you like the video, I highly recommend you check out the video that we put out last week. This video is all about how to detach. And after understanding this video, I'm sure that the next one is going to really put it all together for you. I will see you guys in the next video.